back here. I seem to be having connection issues already. Let me go see what's up with that. Yeah, it just cut out. Hmm. Well, hopefully it doesn't keep happening. Yeah, that looks pretty bad. First thing, need a thumbnail. Oh yeah, we have this shadow bug still. Uh, I'm gonna have to keep my distance. This is fine though. Let me edit that. Add the thumbnail. Too big. I need to do this because YouTube does not like big thumbnails. There we go. All right. I guess I can record just in case my connection drops again. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so we are back here at the Terra factory with our rotator and Lomax once again. Because I wanted to make a proper showcase. Because last time I didn't really do it properly. I'm not showcasing the Lomax this time, just the rotator. So with the rotator, the important things are the weight distribution. So I need a contract. So I can see that. Contract. Online access. There we go. And now I can show the weight distribution of this rig. The Lomax, I'm still gonna need some time to update at some point. So we're only having the rotator for now. Let's see. So the weight distribution on this thing, are we on flat ground? Yeah, this looks completely flat. So this thing, yeah, looks like a messy weight distribution, but it is completely intentional. So you have a decent amount of weight at the front, and then It increases on the second axle and then increases again on the third axle. And then the final axle is the most important one. So it's actually lifted up, but it's stiffer than the third axle. And that's why it's not supporting much weight on the default position. And then if we lift up our axle, it becomes 8, 10, 8, and that's what this 8, 10, 8 decal is there for. Just an extra detail thing. This is 0.2 more than the limit, but you shouldn't get fined when passing the weight check stuff. Because when you're rolling, the suspension doesn't work exactly the same as when you're stationary. So the game actually thinks you have less weight. So you won't be getting fined for exceeding the 10-ton limit. And then put it back down. Since this is a wrecker, we're gonna add some weight on it. We'll put this down. Yeah, let me make sure things are working. Oh, I'm not lined up. I don't know where I'm supposed to place this. It will showcase what I want to showcase. But we can move it once we've seen what it's doing. Yeah, it's too far forward at the moment. Hopefully that's good enough. Still too far forward. Need to move it back some more. Too much. This is why you really need to consider not just what you're towing, but how you're towing it, because as we can see, just moving the thing changes our weight distribution. Oh, it's too far forward again. Oh, because it's right over the wheel. Changes the weight too quickly. Okay, this is good. This is exactly what I wanted to show. So depending on what you're towing, sometimes it will be possible to hit the perfect breakpoint of 10, 10, 10 tons on all the rear axles of the rotator. And this is your first breakpoint. So what if you somehow if you are somehow towing something even heavier than this, that is putting more weight, such as if I have the Terra further forward. So let's actually do that now. Let's move this forward. I think here is good. Actually, let's show it when it's too much. Also, this Terra is no longer in the middle. So this is why you need a proper rotator setup, because if you're towing something really heavy, your front will end up lifted up. And that's why I actually have, this is the maximum limit, weight limit on the rotator. And you may notice it actually says 0 on the second axle, because if you do exceed the 10 tons on all rear axles, you're supposed to lift this up. Oh, we're actually really close now. 1626. So I need to move this back a little bit. I think that's good enough. Nope. What? No, not the control panel. Drive. Not quite, but close enough. So you can see we still have a decent amount of weight at the front. 3.2. That's good enough when you're towing something super heavy. Heavy enough to put this much weight on the back, 16 and 24. And that's actually what I'm gonna show next. Because this is just a single Terra that is not placed properly on the Lomax. So it's putting too much weight on the rotator. So what you're supposed to do is use the landing gear for now. And I want this to be right there. Yeah. Just have the wheel sit right on the ramp. It should slide there naturally. Because at the moment, this is sloping down. And obviously the ramp is also sloping down. So the wheel should sit naturally right on the correct spot. And now, let me just go to my main menu. I've already explained this in my other videos. So I'm not gonna say it again. If you want to know why I did that, you can go check my other videos or live stream. I think I don't have it in on a video actually. It's only on a live stream. You may have noticed the decals on the ramp change. That's just because the ramp is down, so the decals don't render properly. But don't mind that. And I think here is where I want it. It looks really bad, but close enough. So there we go. Even though I added a second Terra, we're still having the same weight distribution on our rotator, which is 3 tons, 16, and 24. I didn't get it quite perfectly, but this is really close to what I want. The Lomax is not really set up um for this rotator and this load. The setup for this is meant to pair with a semi truck, not the rotator. So don't mind the weight distribution on it. Also, apparently my company vehicles are stuck. Yeah, they're stuck on each other. Okay. So that's it for the weight distribution, and that's why it says here 0, 16, 24. And you may think this is too much. We're at 120 gross vehicle weight. But this is perfectly doable. I have tested this multiple times actually and found the limits already. So I guess all that's left now is to show the delivery. This is gonna take a while because we have a long way to go. We're going to the quarry where the terrace always get delivered to. It is 9 kilometers away, but that is a straight line distance. The actual road distance we'll be traveling is down here, 25.9 kilometers. And with this much weight, as I said, this is gonna take a while. This is a 1 hour delivery, at least 1 hour. I've been able to do it in just about an hour, but in most of my testing it took more like an hour and 15 minutes average. So some of them was less than an hour and 15 and some of them were more than an hour and 15. And that's not even including all the extra time that got added whenever I had to do some other stuff during the testing, because obviously things don't just go smoothly when during testing. And as you saw on that corner that we just took, the rotator has a lot of front brake bias. So you're gonna want to have your engine braking, the Jake brakes, turned on to help you slow down for corners like that. I don't remember what gears I should be using depending on the slope, because this is a long trip. There's way too many different road sections, elevation for me to remember. Alright, looks like we're high enough to switch to third. I put a this is one of the few vehicles where I put the upgraded radiator on, but you really shouldn't be overheating because your optimal torque is on the green zone anyway. And as long as you keep it on the green and you don't have damage on your radiator and you have full coolant, then it wouldn't be overheating. Although, as you saw in that previous uphill, I was revving it above the green zone for a little bit, and that's where the what was I saying? Got distracted by the fact that I apparently didn't brake early enough. I do have Jake brakes on. But yeah, you really need the Jake brakes to help you out with slowing down. I actually already did kind of a showcase of the rotator and even more on a recent live stream, but I didn't do this delivery, which is what shows the limits of this setup. I kind of just talked about it and showed the builds. Oh yeah, part of the new builds is if the new lights. I have the new some of the lights assigned to the high beams and some of them to my hazard, so that if you time the hazard correctly, you get alternating lights. Then I'm pretty low on fuel, so I'm gonna fuel here because the next gas station is pretty far away. As you can see, even the tow bar is not really handling the weight very well. It's able to move around as if we don't have it hooked properly, like you have a loose connection because there's just way too much weight on it. It's pretty much at the limit of the weight that it can handle, and we're gonna be seeing that the limit of it later on. We're gonna see the connection point move around some more. on one of the steeper road sections that we'll be passing through. And speaking of the lights, I actually uploaded a bunch of variations of my lights because you can't have them all in one build, and you probably wouldn't want them all in one build anyways. Although I actually personally want to combine some of them and even add more lights because the rotator is such a big vehicle that there's so many places where you can put lights on, and it has so many functions with the crane and the underlift and all that stuff that you, well, I personally would like to have some lights for, but the limit is only 20 for now, which is twice as much as we had before, but still not really enough for certain vehicles like this one. Because when they made the model for this, they already had the light attachment in mind, the light attachment system. So rather than having so many built-in lights, they actually stripped it of a bunch of lights and only kept a few that they felt the truck needed to have by default. And some of the lights that I added are not even really extra lights. They're just covering up an existing light on the vehicle already. But I wanted to be able to assign and change the color of the lights. So I covered it up anyways instead of just using the default, the built-in lights. So as you can see, we're going as fast as we can, but we're not really having steering issues, despite all this weight on the back causing the front to get lifted. Although you do have to be careful for corners like this one. If you take it poorly and too quickly, although you can't really go much faster than I am, you still can go through it too quickly or just not smoothly enough that the Lomax could actually flip over. Because the weight of the Terras are pretty high up. I don't think I've had it happen during my testing. I think the most that I got was the trailer tipping over, but then I adjusted my driving and allowed it to get back on its all of its wheels instead of on just one side. But if I wasn't quick enough with my reaction, it would have definitely flipped over. Oh, I'm too close to the side apparently. Because I took out the light. And there's the remaining road. Still a very long way to go. We're like 1/3 of the way. Oh yeah, I think I was talking about the workshop earlier. That's what I was. Well, regardless of what I was talking about that I forgot, I want to talk about the workshop stuff. These are all in the workshop already because I already kinda have made a showcase of these. Just a quick one at the end of one of my recent live streams. And now I'm doing a proper showcase of the build, not the, well, of the setup, not of all of the builds, because I do have a variety of builds in the workshop. And one of those, as you can see here, I call this the rotator. No, I don't remember. But the lights on this is actually supposed to show as arrows, but because I have the hazard lights on, that actually works as a kind of a stop sign because it shows an X. But the thing is, you can have the hazard lights on and only show an arrow. because these lights are attached to the moving panel at the back. So if I open the panel on one of the sides, it puts the arrow, one of the arrows down. Because the fact that it's attached there, despite being physically placed here, causes it to rotate around the same axis as the panel, and therefore it ends up underneath the ground. So it's no longer visible when you open the panel. So let's not overheat here. It's like we just barely have more power than we need in third, but also we can't really use fourth gear. We have to manage the throttle to not overheat. Wait, I think now we're good on fourth. The FDR on this is already at the limit where it's high enough that in low gear it has as much power as it needs, but not too high that the top speed is very limited. So you can still drive very fast on the long bridges. I tried with a lower FDR because you do reach, if you go through the long bridges, you end up, and you just go full throttle, you end up overheating because you're going, you end up beyond the green zone for a long time on on the final gear, 8H. But it doesn't have enough power on the low gear with a lower FDR. But if you're not planning to carry super heavy cargo like this anyways, then you can go with a lower FDR, such as what I have on my older rotator setups. But this one is made for this kind of limit, not the top speed. So once I'm done with this delivery, I'm gonna show the workshop stuff. Just quickly go through it. Unlike on my other live stream where I went through the workshop and a bunch of my builds in more detail. Mostly the design differences, because all my rotators now have this setup. The only differences are cosmetic, such as the decals and light attachments. Now that I'm looking at it, it might be possible to go straight to the quarry now, but I think the fuel is gonna be very tight. Yeah, just about half and a half. Because the last time I did this was in 7.14, but in 7.15 we have more efficient engines now, more fuel efficient. Here's another section where you might go too fast or you're not turn smoothly enough that you flip over or end up off-road or hitting a tree. So you do have to be careful there. But both the rotator and my Lomax are set up to resist rollovers as much as possible. So you actually can take these corners very quickly. And that's how I managed to do this delivery within an hour. I just went as fast as I could, despite having some traffic sometimes. Speaking of, we're approaching a heavy braking zone again. And I went too fast, but fine. Just had to stop following the road lines for a bit. So yeah, for that section, you do need to slow down. Be careful here as well. And on this next set of corners too. Oh, there we go. That's what I meant. Well, apparently I was too fast. I didn't feel like I was going too fast. But maybe I caused it to be unsettled. So this, okay. Oh, it's on the other side of the road. Well, gotta go grab it. Oh, I think because I was showcasing the weight thing, I didn't have it hooked on the ideal lace. That might have helped. Well, not helped, but that might have been this one of the factors that caused it to be less stable and therefore flip over. This is not even a good way to make money and record XP anyway, so I don't think many people care too much. Oh, and this is way over here naman. Especially now that we have the carry. We want to make money with a car carrier. Also, I didn't part the Lumax as well as I thought. I'm gonna have to move it because this bus is in the way. Oh yeah, because this bus is massive. This would have been fine if it was not for the bus being as big as it is. Oh, still too close. Oh yeah, I should have put the landing gear. Oh, this bus moved even closer now. Oh, where am I? Can't see the panel. That's my storage. The control panel is only on that side. I can't see it. Oh, the bus is gone. Okay. And that's why you have to be careful. Oh yeah, I'm not following the GPS line at the moment because I don't think I'll make it to the quarry with this fuel, despite the better fuel economy. Oh, the NPCs are way too slow on the intersection still. They haven't improved that, so and here's the gas station. making very aggressive use of the Jake breaks. You can't fit the Terra underneath the gas station, so don't pull up under it. Just get close enough to use it and then... Oh, I didn't get it properly. So now we're gonna follow the GPS now. Another downhill section. So be careful, use that engine braking, Jake brakes. And then we're going back up. So this is where you will encounter the first very steep roads, where you're gonna need the low gear. If the Terras, the Lomax, or anything in our that we're towing was any heavier, there would be so many other there would be so many possible reasons that we won't make it over such a steep road. For one, that I mentioned earlier, the fact that the tow hook is kind of flexible. It can break if you're pulling it too much. Then the other thing is, if we didn't have a high enough FDR, and then if you did put a lot, you did put a higher FDR, that could cause the weight on the tow hook to be too much when you're accelerating and cause it to break, or your wheels. Well, hopefully, whatever the issue is, it's just won't happen on later on when I'm actually trying to show stuff. Right now, we're just slowly driving up anyway, so I don't really mind the disconnections, but it is a bit much. So we're finally up here. There's gonna be a few more steep sections though, steep uphills. I hope at some point either these roads get adjusted so that they're not this steep, or we get an alternate road so we won't have to go through this very steep road. I'm pretty sure these are steeper than even the steepest roads in real life. Like, what's the angle of the steepest roads in real life? Like 15 degrees only? Not crazy. This feels like it's more than 20. Well, it looks like it anyway. I actually did watch some videos not too long ago showing what is supposedly the steepest roads in the world. And I don't think it was these as steep as these. Maybe it's just a perspective thing. I think there's one more very steep uphill and a long one too, if I remember correctly. I think the next one though is not as steep as the ones we've already driven. I think it's this one coming up on after this turn. Yep, there it is. a very long uphill. Thankfully, we have a little bit of a downhill before it. Yeah, not very steep though. I can use first gear for this one instead of L gear. Oh wait, there's one more in front of me. I think, yeah, I thought it looked different than what I was thinking of. That's the road that I was thinking of. That's the last one. And I think I need L gear for this one. Yep, that is very steep. Oh yeah, while we're here, since we're basically stopped, I may as well show what I mean. There it is. You can see the connection. It wanted to break off. Oh, is it breaking off? Come on. There we go. That I should probably shouldn't have done that on this piece of road. But that was one way to show it. I think that was got very close to breaking off already. But yeah, my FDR is not high enough for me to pull enough that it breaks. But it was high enough for me to get it up the steep sections. I think this is 4 FDR if I remember correctly. Any of the lower options don't have enough power to pull this load up. At least not with the rotator. With my semi trucks, I went with 3.5 FDR for this load because the semi trucks are much lighter than the rotator. But I think some of them, or most of them, can even pull this load up with only 3.3 FDR. But semi trucks work quite differently anyways, where you have the weight of the load on your drive axles instead of behind it like the rotator. So they can handle way more weight. Actually also have higher FDR semi truck setups for that very reason, which I might end up having to use for testing the new, what do you even call them, the tandem trailers, testing them to the limits, probably with blanks or maybe the beams. I haven't really checked how much space they have because we got a lot of trailers in this update, not just the tandem ones. I realized we have one more steep section like this, but yeah, it looks like it's not steep enough for me to need the L gear though. So I forgot about this one, but yeah, apparently there's also a steep section here. Yeah, this one is not nowhere near as steep as those previous ones. I might have been able to climb in second even. Oh, I should have said, well, too late now. I should have said before starting the delivery to just let me just skip for the rest of the showcase. Because I am gonna put a timestamp on this live stream. But because I had to show the delivery. That's what I didn't do last on my last showcase, which is why I decided to do this today. Be very careful on this corner, because if you go too fast, well, you're gonna fall down there. Don't like where that thing is placed. But I guess they placed it there because that's where the NPCs drive through. I have already used more than half of our fuel. So yeah, I don't think we would have made it with our without refueling a second time. Oh yeah, I didn't include this in my last live stream because the whole point of it was the rescue job. And yeah, I was talking about my, what's it called? The rescue live stream when I mentioned already having done a build showcase of the rotator along with many other stuff. It's a more extensive one, but it does not include this, which is the most important thing, because this takes a long time and it's a vehicle delivery, not a rescue. I might even scrap this live stream, just unlist it and make a video of a build showcase instead of this. But I'm not really that kind of. So this is probably gonna stick. I didn't even want to do this anymore after having done the showcase already in that other live stream, but I realized that this needed its own showcase because I have already shown this a bunch of times, but not in a showcase. I've shown this on my testing when I was trying to figure all this out. Also, the delivery drop-offs are different for each Terra for some reason. Never seen that one before. Every time I delivered here, both of the Terras had the exact same drop-off point. Okay, so let's go back. Finish this, wrap up the showcase. To prepare this. The showcase is not about the Lomax, it's about the rotators. So as I mentioned, the build is already in the workshop. Here it is, 99867. Maximum engine, 13 speed, 1.5 way diff, FDR4, long intake. Oh, whatever. Upgraded radiator, stage 1 turbo. I replaced the rearmost axle tires with the KM2s so that it can support the 24-ton axle weight. Each KM2 is 12 tons, and well, each axle has two tires, two dually tires. So that's 12 plus 12, 24. And the non-upgraded one, the KMH1, is 8 tons each, so it's 16. And somehow that works perfectly for 2 Terras on a Lomax if you loaded it about the same as I did. It has soft springs on the third and first axle. The second axle, the lift axle, is stock, and then the rear one is 150%. So it's, oh wait, no, it's this one. The lift axle is 150%. The rear one is stock, 100%. That's why there's only 6 springs here instead of 8. Uh, can't really remember the dampers, but they're all relative to the springs and their and which axle it is. And then you have the +5 at the front, I think. Yeah, this has to be the front. This is the lift axle. I don't remember which one. Oh yeah, I mentioned it earlier. The rear axle, because it's already stiffer, is has less height on it. So that's the +7. So this is front to back. And then similar to the springs, I only changed 3 roll bars. So this has to be front to back as well. So I changed the roll bars for the front, the lift axle, and the second axle. No, it's the second axle that doesn't have a different roll bar. The rear axle is 50% and the lift axle. And then the Golima wheels, because this is a Golima, so that's not changed. I actually noticed that some of these have different spacers, but it doesn't really change too much. But supposedly the single the single wheels have only 20 millimeters, and then the dualies, since they're closer to each other in the middle, have more spacer on them. Doesn't really change too much. +10 angle kit because this is a massive vehicle with very long wheelbase, so that helps with turning. Then max upgraded winches. The brake pads and brake force are all stock. The inventory are built in, so you can't change that. It's actually confirmed. Yep, 200 roll bar, 50 on the left axle and then stock here and then 50 on the rear up. That was correct. Oh, the dampers. Let's have a look. 50, 300, 150, 400. These are all relative to the stiffness as well as its position on the truck. So even though we have 50% springs on this axle and the front axle, there's more damping here because it's in the back. And this is a lift axle, so it's a lift axle and it's stiffer, but it is closer to the front. So it's only double because the spring stiffness is 150. So the dampers is double that. And then here it's triple. The stiffness is 50, but the spring is 150. And then the rear is quadruple. The stiffness is 100, but the damper is 400. Whereas the front is the same. Same stiffness as dampers. So the further back it is, the more damping is what I made. Then there's the height, like I mentioned. So this is the one you're gonna want to download if you just want the setup itself. But I also uploaded this one, the one that I showcased. Well, I showcased all of these already in my rescue live stream, but this is the one that I did some rescues jobs with. It has slightly different lights. It's blue and red, and it has these pieces at the front and on the roof there. Looks like this one has the correct spacer. What is this one? 106238. Oh, this is the off-road light setup, i.e., in other words, it has surround lights to light up the off-road environment around you, because obviously the off-road areas do not have lights, lamp posts lighting up the area. So this one has that. It also has the lights on the roof, not the ones at the front. This is the only one that has the nose lights. So this one does not have decals. Then this one has the same lights as I have on this truck, but it's facing backwards. And this is the one that has what I have on this thing, which is facing forwards. This one is just the decals of this truck, and this one is just the decals. Well, it also has the paint, although, it's not listed here, the paint. I just noticed that. I actually changed the metallic and roughness on this and the color to be as closely matching these round bits on the side. So when you're looking at it flat, it's almost invisible. And even if you look at it at an angle, it's very similar still. Whereas on this one, it's shiny. And then this one is my original rotator decal, but also with updated roughness. So this one has the same roughness as this thing. Well, not just roughness, the metallic and roughness, because it also has the gray bits. So on the letter A, you don't even see the thing here at this angle. only when you look at it at an angle that you start to see it. And that's all of them. I do have other rotators that I have not updated the decals for yet, but yeah, those are purely cosmetic anyway. They all have the same will have the same setup and lighting as these. And those are my Helldiver ones and the new one that I haven't completed yet, the fire truck. And I think that's it for the rotators. That's all I wanted to showcase. Realistically, you're not really gonna be towing anywhere near as much weight as the Terras, the two Terras on a Lomax. This is a very extreme setup. The next the next heaviest thing really is uh from the harbor maybe. I guess you can also get them as a tow request or a rescue job, not just as delivery, but the next thing that you can encounter, the next heaviest thing is towing another rotator. But the thing with rotators is, let me move this forward so that we're on a flat terrain. So rotators are the next heaviest thing that you may end up towing with a rotator after the Terra. But the thing is, let me show it to you. The thing with rotators is, let's lift the axle. Most of its weight is on the back, like this is only 8 at the front, whereas on the rear you have 19. So that's more than double in the back. So as long as you're towing it from the front, it's not really gonna be adding too much weight. So say you have it like that. Yeah, you ended up close to the 10 tons that I mentioned. Although this is an upgraded rotator, so this is heavier than a stock one. So for this one, you're just 1 ton over the 10 tons limit that I mentioned earlier. So this is still fine. You can still drive with the lift axle down, although you're not gonna get fined when you're towing something anyway. So you don't need to stay on the 10 ton limit. And I think you do stay within the 10 ton limit if it's a stock rotator. Or at least you can have it, depending on how you're towing it, you can have it in a way that you are and gonna stay in 10 tons. Like if you don't lift the front wheels completely, because you don't need to have the front wheels of the vehicle you're towing off the ground. So yeah, this is well below 10 tons on the rear axles. As long as you're reducing the load on it. In fact, let's actually see what happens if we don't adjust it at all. So that's its normal height. I'm gonna hook it like that. Oh, I have the axle lifted. I guess I can lift my own axle. Yeah, it's actually a better test to have both of us with axles lifted. Although I need to rehook now. Okay, there we go. We have the same weight distribution, well, similar. But since we have more than double the weight on the back than this thing has on the front, I think you can tow it just fine. Yeah, it doesn't really have much of an effect. You don't need to lift when you're towing another rotator, because the rotator itself has so much weight on the back that it doesn't have much of an effect. That's more of a real life thing so that you're not scraping the wheels when turning, the front wheels of what you're towing. So in this game, you're totally fine towing them like this. However, if say, if for some reason it's a rescue job and it's missing a bunch of wheels on the back, then you might want to tow it from behind. And the back is heavier. Still not gonna be as bad as towing a Terra though. So in this case, you actually do need to lift the tow bar, because if you don't, then it's gonna push on you. Yeah, now I'm getting my rear wheels is the one that's sliding. So I'm not really pulling it. So in this case, you do have to lift. Oh wait, I need the underlift. Why is nothing happening? Oh, because it's on that angle. Hmm? I am adjusting it. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong key. I was trying to adjust this. Oh, but it's still not doing anything. Weird. Huh. I can't lift it up. I tr I've done this before. I was able to lift it. Oh, there we go. It was caught up on something, so it couldn't lift it. But yeah, let's see what happens if we're towing it like this. There you go. Oh, it's actually almost at the limit. This is about the same as the two terrace on the low max. Yeah, we already have 16 here and almost 24 at the back. That's surprising. Oh yeah, this is one of the ways I tested it. By extending the hook, it's adding more weight to my rotator, to the towing rotator. So yeah, now it's 25 and 16.3. And that's why you're not supposed to tow with the hook extended. Okay, we're closer now. Almost. We're still zero point 0.1 ton over. Still over. Although once again, this is an upgraded rotator that I'm towing. Oh, it's different. Yeah, it's putting more weight on the third axle instead of the back axle, which is not what I expected. Because you'd think because we're towing it at more of a distance that it would put more weight on the back. Although I guess this is a rear axle. Like this is a long truck. Like this is very much still a back axle, but yeah. I was expecting the weight to go here instead of this one, but I guess that's just how it is. This is actually one of the ways I tested the weight distribution thing. Maybe if I adjusted it differently, like if I raised it up some more, I can move the weight correctly. There we go. 16.24. Well, it's still 16.1. I released the brakes. There we go. 16.24. Although it's putting less weight on the front. When we were towing the Lomax with 2 Terras, we had more than 3 tons at the front still. So this is not proper way to test the build. But yeah, I did use this as a reference by lifting up another rotator from behind. So yeah, actually, apparently, towing like this is almost as bad as towing 2 Terras on a Lomax. Because the rotator itself is only 27 tons. We can have a look at our gross vehicle weight is only 54 tons, whereas the rotator with the Lomax and 2 Terras is over 100 tons, and yet our our towing rotator ended up having similar weight distribution, although changed again. But yeah, so you can end up having tow load similar to, well, close to the limit. If for whatever reason you decide to tow a rotator from behind. Oh, where the underlift is lowering again. Oh, I think it's because it's colliding with the other underlift, so the physics is getting weird. Oh, well, anyways, I've already showcased what I wanted to showcase. So yeah, that's it for this stream. Short one this time, because this is just supposed to be a showcase, and it'll be way shorter if you cut out the part where I just do the delivery. So that's it.